Hi, and welcome to Blue Panties and Bourbon, where generally I read my cheating deceased ex-husband's emails because I can't afford therapy.
He's writing in response to this person's double list ad, and he says, I have not had a lot of male lovers. He's been at this for 8 years by now. But I do want a guy that for the time that we are together, whether it's an hour or overnight, I can be 100% passionate with. Kissing, touching, me being vocal. Okay, here. That man was quiet in bed a few months before he died. My husband wrote to somebody, you mean a smooth hot like mine. I'm thinking through asking his support for an outside affair since he cannot perform in bed, or just having an affair without him knowing. We have fantasized about me with a younger fit man, but taken no action. So he's pretending to be me. Oh boy, here's one where he's pimping me out. Great. So here's a picture of me in a bra and panties. I don't know who took that picture. I'm looking for one boy, looking into having one safe little hottie I can have as mine to affectionately dominate, dress up in panties, make out, breed, make him feel like $1 million girl. My girl.
Have been a bull for a number of select couples, but I am a bit different from he is in that I am not so heavily wed to the hardcore cuckold way of sex. Been there, done that, made a few husbands cry, and prefer a more lighthearted approach.
Mother.
Hey guys, it's Kat, and we are here to do something that we have not done in a very long time. We are going to be watching and reacting to a viral story. This is Blue Panties and Bourbon, the saga about a woman who found out that her husband was cheating on her and using blue panties and bourbon to do it. Some of the things in these emails reveal that he was hiding quite a bit about his sexuality and what exactly he was up to in her home. So that's what we're going to be doing in this video. Before I get into this video, I wanted to point out the bikini that I'm wearing. I thought that I would wear it because we are currently doing a sale in my store. If you put in the code BLAQUE at checkout, you will be able to get $5 off of bikinis and swim shorts all summer long. Also, on the note of sales, I've been thinking about some other stuff to put on sale, and I'm kind of like curious what you guys would like to see on sale other than bikinis right now. If I get enough requests, I will put some other things on sale and add them to that code. So let me know what you guys think, and let's get into today's topic. All right, so this is Brandy Hammond. And this is what she has been doing with her time. She has been sharing stories about her husband and the things that she's discovered in his emails. This is the husband, and I think that's probably the person you're going to have to imagine as we go through these stories. There's an ethical question about whether what she's doing is okay. And she starts out every one of these videos by acknowledging that she's doing this because she can't afford therapy. And she discovered all of this after he passed. I'm curious what you guys think about this, whether or not this is permissible. When my mom passed away, I did read through a lot of her things, and maybe there were some things that I probably should not have read. When you're grieving, that's something that you often want to do to feel closer to someone. And I have so much of my mom's writings, and it feels really nice to have her with me. I'm looking at a picture of her right now. And so it wouldn't shock me if this started as her trying to feel closer to someone who she very clearly cared very much about. But there's a lot in these emails, and I've seen some of these, but I have not seen all of them. So let's get into them.
Hi, and welcome to Blue Panties and Bourbon, where generally I read my cheating deceased ex-husband's emails because I can't afford therapy. I've only been at this for a few days, like 4 or 5. I didn't really expect anybody to care or pay attention, but I have had a lot of questions about like our relationship and did I know certain things? What happened? I think this is going to be boring. I don't think this is going to be as much fun as me reading the crazy ass shit that he wrote to people. But if you're actually interested, I'll tell you, I don't know how to encapsulate 17 years of my life into less than 10 minutes, because much more than 10 minutes, the internet does not want you to upload that. The most common questions that I have been asked has been, did I know anything? Did I suspect anything? When did I find out? So let's deal with that one first. Did I know or suspect anything? Yes, I did. The whole last year of 2024 that he was alive from like January on, yes, I did. I had suspicions. He was going to visit one of his children in January, and I was helping him pack, doing his laundry. We were pulling out different bags and suitcases to figure out which would be the best. But in one of the backpacks he pulled down, he left it open. And in that backpack he left open on the floor, there was a bag of toys. Toys that were not going to go in any geographical location that I would have agreed with them being put. There was man panties, there was laundry. I'm like, the Vogue. But I didn't say anything, sent him off to his son, and we had a whole fight while he was there because I didn't want him to come home because I was like, I know something's going on. And of course, it was all it's all in your head. You're just paranoid, so on and so forth. He came back in January, and then in the months that followed, doing laundry, found man panties in his pocket, like these little mesh crotch things that just had like a little strip. It was like a mesh crotch and straps, assless man panties, and the place for your junk to go. I found that in his pocket. He tried to convince me that was a jock strap, and I went, well, then where's the cup? And then I found lingerie on the floorboard of the car as I was loading groceries in. Again, I just brought it in. I'm not a hysterical person. I just brought it in. The same things like the man panties, I just put them out and was like, do you want to talk to me about this? Same thing with the laundry. Do you want to talk to me about this? This was actually in August, maybe 6-8 weeks before he died. Tried to have a conversation with him. I'm just trying to be your friend. What's going on? What are you doing? Obviously, you're doing something. There's something going on. We'd been sleeping in separate rooms. He skeeved me out. Being around him was giving me the heebie-jeebies. But the house was mine. He wouldn't leave, and he would play on my sympathies. He was 71. You can't just put me out. Blah, blah. And I was like, take your Social Security. You're 71 years old. You should have taken it when you're 70. You don't get anything more after 70. They don't give you more money after 70. 70 is the cutoff. That's as much as you're ever going to get. So take it at 70. I begged him to take it at 67 during the pandemic, during COVID. So we weren't so strapped. We had our own business. We worked for ourselves. And I wanted him to take his Social Security back then. But my mom had passed away. We'd sold her house. So I had money. So we ended up living off that money during the pandemic, during COVID, to get us through. We were still seeing people, but having to be very careful. And a lot of people weren't coming in. I'm a medical massage practitioner. I do corrective exercise therapy. He was a strength and conditioning specialist. But what I found out, by tossing his bookshelf while he was in the hospital, I found my lingerie, I found my panties, and I also found a lot of paperwork where he had not actually filed for his Social Security, and I couldn't understand that. Why would you not do that? Why wouldn't you have done that years ago? And the reason was, as I found through more paperwork, that he still owed his wife before me. I'm his third wife. His second wife, he still owed her like $75,000. And so he didn't want to file for his Social Security because they would have garnished his wages to pay her off. But if he'd have done it when, he was 67, then even if we had to lose that, which we didn't have it regardless, even if we had to lose that by 70, all of that would have been paid off and we'd have been fine. So I thought. But then I talked to another child of his first wife who informed me that, he'd owed his mom over $100,000. And so that was why he didn't have accounts in his name and why everything was in my name and all the bank accounts and all the credit cards, which he left me heavily in debt, promising me everything was going to be fine because Social Security was going to come in. It was going to pay it all off, but it was all everything about my life for the last 17 years has been a lie. So did I know shit was going on? Yeah, but I did not know the gravity. I knew he had tendencies. I knew he had ideologies, but I didn't know how much there was. While he was in the hospital, going into his laptop and seeing his own regular email with his name, an ancillary Yahoo email with a different name, and finding yet another one in Microsoft with another name. If you just read what he wrote, it would seem like you were reading something from someone with a multiple personality disorder. He did have multiple personality disorders, plural, but there's a specific diagnosis of multiple personality disorder as opposed to multiple personality disorders, plural. He was a malignant narcissist and had a whole lot of he was probably a borderline personality disorder. He definitely had a lot of problems, but I didn't see fulsomely until he was sick and dying and in the hospital. And I finally had a chance to be away from him where he wasn't compressing my space all the time, that I could think and breathe. One thing he used to say to me always is like, he never wanted me to go on trips by myself, because his complaint was every time you go on a trip away for a weekend or a few days, every time you come home, you want a divorce. Because I rested and I had some time to think, and I realized how fucked up my life was, and I wanted out, and I'd wanted out for years, but I couldn't get out. And the house was mine, and he played his weaknesses. It's a whole thing. I hope this answered some of your questions. I'm culpable. I'm guilty, but I can also say I know that he kept me from rest. He kept me from sleeping. I'll get to the point in the emails where he's talking about hiding my underwear in cars outside of the house. And when you do something like that and you have several dogs, the dogs are up constantly running outside, finding out what's going on because they hear something in the yard. So he kept me awake for 17 years so that I couldn't sleep and I couldn't think and I could never rest and I couldn't put things together. Hopefully this answers some of your questions. Feel free to ask more. I'll answer them as I can.
Part of why I wanted to do this video is I am too familiar with this whole thing. When I was younger, I got contacted by closeted married men. As a trans woman, there were men who had a curiosity for me, and they would hit me up on various social media pages. For context, I was a Craigslist rat back in the day. And I used Craigslist and similar websites to find people. And quite frequently, I was contacted by married men who were eager to cheat on their wives. When you operate within that space for a bit, you start to recognize that that's very common. The men seeking out this sort of thing play several different roles. You think a lot of these men are doing one thing, but a lot of times they're playing multiple different roles. A lot of stuff happens in these emails. I wanted to show you guys that video to give you guys some background. But girl, some of these emails are escandalo. And again, there is an ethical question about whether or not this is okay. But I did think that this was an interesting example of something that I often talk about. And also a look into something that I, frankly, have always been a little curious about.
Welcome back to Blue Panties and Bourbon, where I am reading the emails of my cheating deceased ex-husband because I can't afford therapy. This is only, I guess there was some conversation that went on before this. It was off Double List. This is from June 18th, 2024, so just over a year ago. And
I mentioned Craigslist earlier. Double List is the website that was used when Craigslist got rid of their casual encounters section. Double List is still active and people use it for escorting and occasionally to meet people for casual encounters.
a few months before he died, my husband wrote to somebody, you mean a smooth, hot like mine? And the person replied, I can barely make out the pic. Are you able to host? Oh God, this dude put his real name and email address. Wow. Hey, Cleve. His name's Cleve. I won't say his last name. I'm so tempted to email these people because this was from a year ago. Anyway, I can barely make out the pic. Are you able to host? Friday through Sunday? Yes. Cleve writes back, how old are you? My husband writes back, 53, too old. He was 71. So Cleve says, I see. I would honestly have to see a full, clear pic of your entire or see you in person. 53 is a bit older than what I'm looking for unless that act is on point, and that's my main concern. God, the romance. To which my husband replied, no offense taken, totally get it about my age. To which Cleve said, what side of town are you on? He told them exactly where we were, Forest Acres, the end. Don't know what happened there. But this dude has his full name and his AOL. I have a Gmail, but if you've got an AOL, yes, it's pretty old too. So I think Cleve shouldn't be judging on that one. Anyway, we're going to move right along.
People lie so frequently on these apps. It's kind of crazy to think that there was a time that I used to meet people from these apps, but quite frequently people would lie about their height, their age. I mean, there was a time where I met up with someone and they literally sent me a picture from what had to be 20 years ago. 20 years ago. It's really funny to me how older men sometimes think that there's not a noticeable difference after a certain point. Like, there's a pretty big difference between being 51 and 71. Like, you may still feel the same, but there's a difference.
All right. So today we are reading one from June 17th, 2024. This is the same day he was writing to another guy. He was cheating on me like it was a job. So anyway, he's writing in response to this person's double list ad. And he says, I feel like we should at least communicate some to gauge connection. I fit every criteria you wrote about. I want what you want. I fit your description of who you'd like. I'm 55. Lie. He was 71. White male. He was honest about that. 7 inches cut. He changes the size of his penis. Sometimes he says he's 7. Sometimes he says 7.5. Sometimes he says 8. He kind of goes up and down that 1-inch scale. I don't get it. Anyhow, verse bottom. I don't know what that means. If somebody wants to enlighten me. Loves oral and kissing and has prostate orgasms easily when I'm penetrated. He loves to brag about that.
Okay, so real quick for the sake of education, a verse bottom is a man who likes to both give and take, but prefers to take.
I'm 5'11". No, he was like 5'9". And weigh 184, 33-inch waist, 44-inch chest, bubble muscular butt, swimmer's build. He was 71 years old. He had a dad bod. He had a belly. I mean, it was like a melon. You could thump that thing. And it was more like 36, 37 around his belly button. But as long as he kept his waistband around his hips, he could still squeeze into a 33 with a button straining. He sucked it in a lot on his pictures. Anyway, I'm told I'm pretty easy on the eyes. Disease drug-free, is that what that is? Tested and will test again. Last was 2 months ago. Lie. I'd like one guy to be sexual with. I'd want us to be both DDF so we could play however we wanted without anxiety about safety. I like a lot of different male body types, and in bed for me, it's more about your passion than having a great body. Write me, please. Your ad was very appealing and unique. To which the answer was from someone named Rick. Anyway, he says, you're the first one I didn't scare away when I mentioned getting tested. I agree that if we can get past that part and know each other is clean, it will ease the anxiety and we could relax and enjoy each other. I agree. It's all about the passion, something I crave. I think we should meet. Are you local? Do you have certain times of your availability? Rick, thanks for the reply. I usually have a flexible schedule, and yes, I'm local to Columbia. This week is unusual because I'm at a conference out of state until Friday. I would work on your end as far as meeting goes. Thanks. Oh, he put his real name in there, but this is what I love. So he puts his real name in there because his name is David, but his account on Double List was Michael. Blowing your cover there, dude. Oh, so here he sends another email. This is still David. Hey, this is an afterthought email. Please read my earlier to answer your questions. I'm writing you to share what I seek in a guy at the risk of having you say, no, I'm not interested. But I don't want either of us to waste time, so it's better to tell you. Not interested in causing harm to anyone's marriage. Okay, so Rick's married. But I do want a guy that for the time that we are together, whether it's an hour or overnight, I can be 100% passionate with. Meaning for me, giving him long oral sessions, giving him full body massages, both regular and erotic, kissing, touching, me being vocal. Okay, here. That man was quiet in bed. He was very quiet and he didn't like to talk, nothing. So apparently he was very different with the men he was with.
I think it's interesting how he has so many extensive thoughts about the men that he's with. It makes you think about what he was doing in that relationship. What was he doing with her? Was he communicating with her as much as he was communicating with these men? It seems like not. There's a lot of conversations about biphobia and rejecting bisexual men and whether or not it's biphobic to reject bisexual men. I wrote about this on my website, blaqueinthecity.com. I've written things about it. My most recent post, I share a lot of my thoughts there. But one of the things I mentioned in that post is that a lot of women are dealing with a situation where they are existing in a culture where they have to perform these roles, and they are encouraged to perform these roles from a young age. Many of them don't want to give that sacrifice, knowing that there is a very high likelihood that the person they're with isn't going to feel the same way back and is going to be using them to access their labor. From what she's told us, she had a house, resources, things that made it a good idea for him to stay in that relationship. But what was he giving her? It sounds like sex wasn't really on the table. It was hiding from her, keeping her awake all night, basically using her for a place to stay and hiding a lot of the sexual things he was doing with other people from her, right? And I honestly do understand why a lot of women would not want to be in a dynamic like that. And do I think it is biphobic to reject bisexual men? I think for the most part it is. I think most of the reasons women give for rejecting bisexual men are homophobic. I also understand how someone could see this and say, boy, do I really not want to even put myself through that. I don't really have an issue with women being picky and making sure that the person they're with is on the same page with them. So, yeah, maybe that's my hot take. I did a reading of that article for my members. Anyway, let's get back to it.
Totally giving him my... Alrighty. I have not had a lot of male lovers. He's been at this for 8 years by now. So that... I have not had a lot of male love. Oh my God, is he going total simp? But I've learned that some men just get uncomfortable when their lover offers passion to them. I want one guy to be with who is comfortable with all that and knows I'm not trying to screw up his marriage. And I did not say before, discretion is honored 100%. As far as meeting goes, we can split hotel costs when I can't host. All my best, David. Like you quickly lost interest. That's unfortunate. But like I said, neither one of us wants to waste time. So best wishes and good luck in your search.
I think it's funny that he had been at this for 8 years and was still acting like he'd never had the experience. When I used to be a Craigslist rat, I would notice men that were on there for a long time continuously saying that they've never had a trans experience. And it was like, dude, I'm pretty sure we had a trans experience many years ago. But it's interesting because a lot of these men, it's like they're role playing the actual sex that they're having with people. Like they need to insert themselves in the role of the man who's never done this before, even when they've done it many times. It's kind of an interesting thing. When I listen to this woman tell her story, it's like, oh my gosh, do I understand why women would not want to be in that position? Why they would look at something like this and say, you know what? I don't even want to come close to this.
So we're moving on. We're on Monday, April 15th of 2024. So still just over a year ago. So here's David answering a post on Double List. And he writes, nice post, nicer photos, some questions. Your marital status? Question. What are you looking for in a woman? Nice booty? Question. Are you local? If I am married, issue or not? Your place or question mark, question mark, question mark. Also, shy can be pretty cute. To which the person who put his real name in there, Aaron, replied, someone real would be nice. Why did he say, what are you looking for in a woman? So David replied, thank you. I'm married and my husband is older by 20 years. I'm thinking through asking his support for an outside affair since he cannot perform in bed, or just having an affair without him knowing. We have fantasized about me with a younger fit man, but taken no action. So he's pretending to be me. Aaron says, but I'm looking for real life, just a lot of fakes and stuff. And I'm 42, so not young. I assure you I had no idea about this. To which David replies, all good. I'm Michael BTW, Israeli. Just realized I forgot to warn you. Most Americans see it only as a man's name. It is not. Mother.
Wow. Wow. That is pretty crazy. So this guy not only was cheating on her with men behind her back, he was also pretending to be her, uploading pictures of her without her consent and sending them to men. And the thing about it is this is literally a subculture. There's a whole subculture of married men who exchange photos of their wives, oftentimes without their consent. Sometimes these men are consensually sharing images of their wife with other men. But sometimes they also pretend to be their wives. There was a case in France where a man pretended to be his wife. He would drug his wife and then let men assault her. That is so terrible. It absolutely is a massive betrayal of trust.
Oh boy, here's one where he's pimping me out. Great. So here's a picture of me in a bra and panties and him nude lying on our bed. I don't know who took that picture. Anyway, April 11th. Write if you're real and we can go from there. David was answering somebody. Here's some guy named Bob who put in his full name. Morning. Thanks for the pic. I'm real and in West Columbia. David replies, thanks. This could be a good connection. More info, please. We are married. Her 50. Nope. 2024 is 54. Him 56. Nope. He was 71. Both fit and bi. Thanks for answering for me. What is your ideal situation? We are in Columbia. But that's the end of that. That was all she wrote. Here's new dude. Oh, wow. That is a close-up picture of my husband's rectum. Okay. So he's answering a double list ad Monday, April 8th, 2024. I'm 51, married white male who can host. 5'10", 183, very fit, muscular swimmer's build, nice looking, sane, DDF. I have great oral skills, and while I am masculine, I'm a submissive bottom in the bed for a right male. I give great head, and I can take a pounding. Give great massages. I'm in Forest Acres. Jason replied, hot. I'd love to get together. Give me a heads up about what time you're available, and I can work something out. And that's my husband in assless man panties. Jason, I'd love that. Pretty sure I can host towards weekend or after Wednesday. Here's my cell. That was the end of that. This is Cody. This is just a normal picture of David. He's answering somebody. Well, damn, aren't you a little cutie? I'm 53, 5'10", 185, nice looking white masculine male, muscular athletic, 7.5 cut. Might like to take you into my bed for the night, make love to you, and knock you up. So this is a switch. David's usually being the power bottom and talking to other people about wanting them to knock him up. Now he's saying it to someone else. So this is a switch. This is a little different. To which Cody replies, holy fuck, you're hot. You're exactly what I'm looking for. I would love to have you use me for your own pleasure, as long as I get to have your thick push down my throat as I'm looking up at you. Okay, Cody. So David writes back, hey, Cody, hope this finds you having a good Monday. I'm looking for one boy, the right boy, looking to roll numbers, looking into having one safe little hottie I can have as mine to affectionately dominate, dress up in panties, make out, breed, make him feel like $1 million girl. My girl, let me know, baby. What I want may not be what you want. Well, so this is like a totally new facet. This is completely different because so many times he's talking to people about, wanting to be effeminate or whatever, but this is a switch. This is new. Wow. Okay. But that seemed to be, that's all that he wrote to Cody. And this was on March 25th, 2024. March 24th, March 25th. Anyway, that's a big switch. That's what's made this so puzzling and so confusing is all of the different facets of the personality coming out is what makes this so weird. It's kind of psychologically interesting, but to see all the different stuff that he was looking for and how he would talk to and react to people. And this is just a whole new facet.
So I am completely unsurprised that he was on there looking for femboys. Very much unsurprised by that. I've mentioned this before, and I talked about this a bit in the video I made on my side channel, Movies in My Closet, where I speak about cross-dressers and often the role play that is part of that. A lot of men are into this mostly because of the gender play, the role playing that happens, right? And like I explained earlier, this guy is a versatile bottom, right? So this is a guy who has a little bit of flexibility, and sometimes that does mean that he likes to get certain people for certain things. It sounds like he, with men, is a bit more effeminate and likes to be dominant. And if he is the one with a more feminine partner, he likes to be on the other end of that. For me, this was very interesting in that it sort of shows the multiple layers of some of these men, because of course, a lot of these men are responding to each other and messaging each other and sending all of this stuff to each other, but they're all playing different roles, various different roles. What's sad about this to me, it's sad, but I think people do this for a reason. Some people get off on cheating. They don't want to live the possibility that he communicates with his wife is into it, they explore this stuff together, and it's a good time. I went to this event in Palm Springs a little while back. It was called Bisexual Fest. If you're a little bit of an older person and you are looking for an upside down pineapple party where there are far more bisexuals, that's a really great place to go. The thing that was so great about it is you would meet these men who were openly bisexual with their wives, who were openly approving and supportive of their bisexuality. And these men would enjoy an adventure with other men. And some of these men knew each other and have known each other for a really long time. And occasionally the women would also interact with each other. Like sometimes when I listen to stuff like this, it's sad because there's always a part of me that wonders if he had the option or felt he had the option to be open about this, if he would have been. And being open about it with your wife doesn't mean you got to tell the world, right? There are people who do explore these things with each other productively. But for a lot of people, the taboo of it is that it's a secret. The exciting part of it is the fact that it's something that they're sneaking to do. And, you know, that's something that I think is really rightfully upsetting. Sign up for a situation like this. But there are women who are comfortable with it and are supportive of it. And within my non-monogamous community, I've known people for whom their main dynamic is finding partners for them to explore their bisexuality with. Sometimes this has its own toxicity, but it is possible. I try to talk about that because a lot of people think the only way they can exist in this culture is to do all the things they were told they should do. But there is a version of this existence where you get to be who you want to be. And you're honest about it. And you're doing it with people who you have the passion with that you're looking for. I think a lot of people get off on not getting that agreement from their partner.
Hello, and welcome to Blue Panties and Bourbon, where I'm reading my cheating deceased husband's emails because I can't afford therapy. I finally got my viewership down to under 10,000. And now that I've spent my entire weekend being chewed out by 2/3 of my stepchildren and being told what I'd done to their family and how I traumatized them with literally zero empathy or sympathy or understanding of what their father had put me through, I read them a few stories about things he had done that involved them. And that got quiet real fast. So, here we are. All righty. Here we are. Okay. So, November 7th, 2019, David, as Michael, is responding to someone. It's a fairly reasonable picture. It's just like him sitting there. It's not a big deal. Thanks for writing back. So we're a couple in Colombia, 29-year-old male, female, and up until recently searching for a third. An older, dom white male, someone kind, respectful, experienced, fun, yet knows how to be aggressive and demanding in bed when the time comes. We are in a happy, committed relationship. Sexually and emotionally, everything is amazing. We're not looking to spice things up necessarily. This is just something we both mutually want to share together for fun. We're in a sexually open relationship. Her and I may have multiple sex partners, so we're both very open-minded. We agreed I would find someone, so I'm doing the initial vetting of guys because God knows how many crazy people are out there in the forums, LOL, and she doesn't want to deal with that. I really, really fucking wonder how much she wanted to deal with it in the first fucking place. How do I start this? There's polygamy, even in the Bible. You look at Joseph's family, there was a man and Rebecca at the well and so on and so forth. There was a lot of women that would be sister wives to this man. And sometimes they were all sisters, and other times there were other women brought in from the outside. Multiple partners isn't new. You can see it in the Bible. Men had multiple wives if he could afford them.
That's a really good point, that there was an option there, but he didn't quite want to take it.
So today, I'd mentioned that he'd been cheating on me for at least 8 years when he passed. And so I've gone back in his emails all the way back to September 24th, 2016. And this is his Craigslist days, but he was still using his pseudonym of Michael. So let's see what he was up to. Lisa, it's a girl. Best friend had some email correspondence with you and afterwards told me a bit about you and what you're seeking. He suggested you and I and your partner might be a good fit for sexual exploration. I personally enjoy taking a lovely married or partnered woman in front of or with her significant other. Not adverse to travel for the right couple, and I prefer an ongoing thing, but accept and realize this is probably a bit much for most couples wanting to explore. He and I are pretty adept at guiding couples in this type of sexual exploration. I have found communication and clarity of the couple's desires and limits to be key for a great experience. I have been a bull for a number of select couples, but I am a bit different from he is in that I am not so heavily wed to the hardcore cuckold way of sex. Been there, done that, made a few husbands cry, and prefer a more lighthearted approach.
This guy is just vocalizing his porno fantasies. Like, that is almost exclusively what this is, right? Like, it's so interesting to me because there's really no reason to do this. I mean, other than you get off on the shitty, taboo, underground nature of it. Now, to explain a bull to you guys, a bull is usually the, but not always, more masculine, more well-bit, more functional man who comes into a couple and dominates the woman in a way that is often degrading for the man who is the husband, right? And the point of that is supposed to be sort of like a catharsis through seeing your partner enjoy someone sexually more than you. And that's supposed to be a big part of it. It's why many white men don't like black men. Bull was also a term used within the context of the sexual violence that was exerted against black men under slavery, right? So these things do have a connection. But ultimately, he's just kind of like sharing his porno fantasy. It doesn't sound like he even did any of this, though, of course, we never really know. But he shifts between these personas very easily and eagerly. Going back to some of the conversations that we were having recently, there are people who would argue that men are not open about stuff like this because they experience judgment from women. And again, I want to reaffirm that there are women who exist who would be not just accepting of this, but into it, right? But it seems like he really didn't want to be honest about who he was and what he wanted. And I don't really think you can blame that on women. I think that's an explanation, but it's usually an excuse. You can be open with your partner without being open to the world. And it seems like he wasn't willing to be open to his partner.
About me, former military officer. Okay, who needs to use stolen valor to get laid? My entire family has been military. Everybody, my grandfather, my father, my brother, my son, everybody is military. This pisses me off. Former fucking asshole. Anyway, sorry. Currently engaged in defense contracting work? Fuck, man. 5'11", 188 pounds, very muscular, blue eyes, shaved head, 8 inches, and at 46. Okay, he was 6'3" when he wrote this. Still able to go multiple times, love all night, HIV tested regularly for work, lie. Clean as clean can be always. No issue performing in a condom and honored to go bare with the right safe couple. Straight but not arrow. No issue with a woman's partner jumping in to mix it up to help please her. Totally cool. Great, actually. And putting on a sex show with wife if hubby just wants to watch. Dominant. You've probably been watching long enough to know that's some bullshit. Dominant, but unlike some guys, will have you wanting to please me. Now, one downside. He said you like body hair, and I wish I could oblige, but I spend most days in a flight suit. That stuff gets pretty gnarly, so sadly, sweetheart, I am smooth. I don't usually do Craigslist, but I liked your email that he shared because you wrote it. It was sexy, intelligent, and honestly, baby, most communications on here are done by guys who, if they even have a gal, want the sex the way they want it, not the way she wants it. Woman is the centerpiece and treasure here. This is about her first and always. Pictures attached. Much love, Michael. Mug. It's different.
This is a perfect example of some of the shit that I talk about, because this guy says the woman is the centerpiece and the treasure, like he's some feminist who's willing to please a woman, while he's stealing his wife's images, sharing them with men without her consent, and cheating on his wife of 17 years. Imagine that. You dedicate your life to a man for 17 years. And only after he passes away do you discover that the entire time, that through most of the relationship, he was cheating on you with men, with women, with femboys, with whoever he could find. The one thing that I have strived for is complete and total honesty with my partners. I do not want to be in a dynamic where a man doesn't know everything about me and I don't know everything about him. And I'm very happy to say that my partners all share everything with each other. We are all very honest. I put a lot of distance between myself and the men that are interested in dating me. And I find that the right guys stick around and are patient and are willing to go at my pace. And frankly, I'm very thankful that I met a series of very honest, very transparent partners, because I would not want to be paranoid about this shit. My boyfriend has all of my passwords. He knows what I'm up to. It's really nice. I understand why so many people think that that's not possible, but I think it's hard to get there if you're not willing to do the work. I wonder if this was a situation where he would have wanted to do the work. All of these emails are long and verbose, and he couldn't have possibly been meeting up with most of these people. He probably did meet up with some, but there were a lot of people for whom he enjoyed talking to and exchanging this information with, and the role play of it all. I would love to hear from women who have had a similar experience, what you did when you discovered that your partner was cheating. And I'm a little curious how you guys feel about this in conjunction with some of those conversations we've been having lately, because I don't think that it is correct or fair to assume that a man's bisexuality means he's going to cheat or be unfaithful. I also know that a lot of women wouldn't sign up for this, right? Maybe it isn't even the bisexuality aspect of it. It's the fact that you are cheating so frequently and you seemingly have a bajillion different personalities. Which one is you? And maybe they're all you, but it seemed like he really needed to split himself into different pieces in order to get some of the reaction that he wanted. And I know for me in my personal life, becoming one unified person was really important. I didn't want to feel like I needed to lie to anyone about what I was doing or who I was. And when I was in a relationship with my ex, I certainly had curiosities that I was not able to pursue. There were maybe some inappropriate things I did online, only online, to explore that stuff. But I'm glad those things are no longer a secret within my relationship, and that my boyfriends, even if they're not into a lot of the stuff that I like, are aware that I like it and they don't judge me for it. That's really important, because if you're having sexual happiness and you're with a person who you know wouldn't be okay with that, you're being deceptive and choosing to keep information from them that would help them make good decisions about their life. You have to wonder if there would have been a 17-year-long marriage if any of this was out in the open. And you also have to wonder if it would have gone very differently, where maybe she would have been more accepting. But either way, he should have communicated with her, and it was a choice not to. I'm curious what you guys have to say about this, so please give me your thoughts in the comment box below. I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys, and especially from women who have been through similar situations. We do have a bikini sale going on in the store. Right now, you can get $5 off of bikinis and swim shorts with the code BLAQUEBIKINI. On that note, I will talk to you guys soon, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Stay hot and introspective, and always remember that you are beautiful and you are loved. Bye.